Now, one of the other involvements you have in singing is the projection of the sound. You want to make sure that the whole voice from top to bottom projects equally as far. Sound projects much more readily on a hard surface than it does on a soft surface. If I hit that piano like that, you'll hear that sound much more readily than if I hit my knee with equal force. In other words, that surface being hard reflects the sound, that surface being soft absorbs the sound. So what we have to do is to find the hard surfaces in the head that will produce this hard reflected sound rather than that soft absorbed sound. Now we have two surfaces in the head which will produce that hard reflected sound. One of the surfaces is the forward part of the roof of your mouth. This is known as the hard palate. We call it in singing the sounding board. It's like the sounding board in a piano. If you took the sounding board out of the piano and hit the keys, you'd hardly hear anything at all. The forward part of the roof of the mouth, the hard palate, is bone covered with skin. The back of the roof of the mouth is called the soft palate because it's mostly skin. The pharynx, the back of the throat, is comparatively hard, but the back of the tongue and the back of the roof of the mouth are soft, and the sounds are absorbed by these soft surfaces rather than reflected by the hard surface, the roof of the mouth. We have 8 other areas in the head which produce this hard reflected sound, known as the sinus cavities. These sinus cavities are 4 on either side of your face. They're directly back of your cheeks, your eyes, and part of the forehead. There are 2 very large ones, there are 2 medium-sized ones, and there are 4 small ones. There's 4 on either side of your face. These are holes in your skull, or holes in bone. Now when you sing, your head can be likened to a 2-horned trumpet. The top horn are your sinus cavities, the bottom horn is your mouth. These 2 horns are joined together into a common neck, which we call the windpipe, okay, which is where your vocal cords are situated. Now when you sing, breath passes from the lungs, goes up through the vocal cords, vibrates the vocal cords, and creates what we call a sound. But that sound is actually only vibrating breath. Some of that vibrating breath enters the head, passes through the nasal passage into the sinus cavities, and vibrates in the sinus cavities, producing what we call head tone or head quality or head voice. Now when a male singer sings in what we call falsetto, a lot of rock singers do this, when a male singer sings in falsetto, what he is actually using is only the sinus cavity resonance. In other words, he's pitching his voice up into the same frequency range as a female singer. When I was a boy soprano, I sang in the same frequency range as a female soprano. When my voice broke or changed around the age of 13 or 14, my voice lowered. All that happened was my vocal cords thickened, and because of the thickening of the vocal cords, my vocal cords were not able to vibrate fast enough to produce that high-pitched sound like a female soprano, so I became a tenor. Now, the falsetto is not a normal voice for a man. The very word itself indicates false is false. E-T-T-O is a suffix on the end of the word, means small. Small, false voice. But it's perfectly legitimate in the pop field. We don't use falsetto if we sing correctly in the classical field, but it's possible to use it in the pop field depending upon the effect you want to have or use with the song that you're singing. Okay? Now some of that same vibrating breath enters the mouth and vibrates inside the mouth, creating what we call mouth resonance or mouth tone or mouth quality. Now this is called the yell of the voice. The sound that's created on the hard palate is a sort of a yelling sound. The falsetto or the sinus cavity resonance softens and sweetens that ugly yelling, strident yelling sound, causing it to become a mellow, melodic singing sound. Okay? Now because of these 2 cavities vibrating at the same time, in effect your whole head is vibrating, and that vibration of the head is transferred through the tissues of the neck into the hollow portion of your upper chest, and there is a sympathetic or extended vibration produced down here called chest resonance or chest tone or chest quality. Now, in the singing of one distinct vocal sound, there has to be 3 vibrations involved. This is known as the mixed voice. We have to have head, face, and chest vibrating at the same time in one vocal sound, the mixed voice. Now, depending upon where I am in the range of my voice, I'm going to have more of one and less of the other. If I go up to the top part of my range, I am probably going to have, to use a percentage, 70% of the sound vibrating in my large sinus cavities. I'm going to have 20% vibrating in my mouth, and I'm going to have 10% vibrating in my chest. When I come down to the middle part of my voice, I'm going to have a third in one area, a third in the middle, and a third in my chest. When I come down to the bottom part of my voice, I'm going to have the opposite of what I had on the top. I'm going to have only 10% of the vibration in my head, I'm going to have 20% in my mouth, and I'm going to have 70% in my chest. Now, fortunately, we don't have to think of those 3 areas all at one time, because there's only one area that you have any degree of control over, and that is the mouth. You can't change the size of the sinus cavities at will. You can't make them larger or smaller. Neither can you make the chest cavity larger or smaller at will. You can't make control the size of the chest cavity. But through the lifting of the throat and a lot of thought, concentration, the mouth cavity can be controlled to a great extent. So we're going to think of the whole range of the voice when we sing, sitting at eye level, Madonna, okay? We're going to think of the whole range from top to bottom, sitting at eye level, because the cavities that are producing that sound are right about that level, okay? Now, the problem with thinking at this level is that pitch enters the picture. With many singers, when they have to sing a higher tone or a high note in their range, since the high note sounds high and it looks high on the piano, they automatically think of the sound as being up above their head somewhere, because the pitch tells him it's up there. But it's not up there. The range of the voice, or the pitch of the sound, is right here at eye level. Now, a great many singers, if they have a high note or high notes in the song, I'll almost guarantee you that from the first note they sing in the song, they're subconsciously thinking about that high note, and they're saying to themselves, I don't think I'm going to get it tonight, I don't think I'm going to sing it correctly. And of course, if you talk the mind out of doing it, then the mind just gives up, and you don't create the high note correctly. If you can discipline yourself to think of your high note as sitting right here, then psychologically you're not afraid of it anymore. You're looking at it. It's right here inside those cavities, okay? So the important thing is not to think of high notes being up there or low notes being down here, but to think of your whole range of your voice sitting right in front of your face.